What would you now tell yourself when you first became president?
You have no idea what's coming. But what I would tell myself, which I actually think I knew, but I'd tell myself, and I've told the same thing to President Ayala Harris, is the most important thing you can do is not think you can do this alone. That you need people with you who, and to work as a team. I have been incredibly blessed for this decade to work with the people I do. And I'm not going to name them because there's too many. Lots of them got medals or courtesy resolutions. This church is so full of gifted, talented, smart people who love the Episcopal Church. So what I told myself 10 years ago is make sure you get really good people, and don't get people who only agree with you. So I've always preferred to surround myself with opinionated people who maybe they have the same opinion as I do, but most of the time they don't. And to work with them to create something out of that mosaic of wildly differing opinions, because if you can do that, you're probably onto something. So that's what I'd tell myself.
What was your first thought when you banged the gavel for the last time?
Oh, great confidence in the future of the House of Deputies. New leadership, 46% of the deputies this time were new. They're energetic, they're excited, they bring fresh ideas. I thought that the House might be crankier, given the fact that it's a shorter convention. There was a lot of generosity of spirit. People were patient and willing to, trust the platform and go with the flow. So first thoughts is, personally, it was a pretty good run for 10 years. It was, as I said in my closing remarks, it's been a great privilege.
What were turning points during your tenure as president?
The turning point for me was understanding that my job as president was to ensure a fair process where as many voices as possible could be heard. So that was a big turning point, to go from, in the midst of the activity to kind of a more panoramic view. Some other turning points were watching the church in 2015 echo the law of the land and changing our marriage canons to make marriage available to all people. It was, I don't think we even understand how cataclysmic that was in 2015. Another turning point, I would say, was at the last convention with the Me Too committee work. We lamented a lot in 2018. I think we're just beginning to really look carefully at action. And I said it in my closing remarks that misogyny is still alive and well in our culture and our laws, with the overturn of Roe v. Wade, and in our church. So we've made enormous progress, but we have enormous, we have a lot of things we still need to address. And I think that's what I love about the Episcopal Church, is we're not afraid of looking at ourselves in the mirror. Sometimes it takes us a long time to do that, but when we do, we take it seriously. We're actually a really conservative form of governance. Sometimes it will take us a long time. I mean, the first committee on the role and place of women in the church, in the governance of the church, was 1871. So, and we did not seat women as deputies until 1970. But when we make a decision, we really stick to it, and then we go deeper into it. So I think those are two major turning points, one personal in terms of how I functioned as a leader, and then two major events in the life of the church. And of course at this convention, I hope the church has made an even deeper commitment to racial equity and justice.
So what's next?
Well, I joke with people, I really need to clean my basement out. There's so much stuff in there. You know, I'm funny about that. I never really worry about what's next because something always happens. Something always comes up. A friend, a colleague, God says, oh, how about this? And so I've never, truthfully, ever really looked for a job. I've finished a job and something else has come that just, you know, calls me. You know, it kind of grabs me by the shirt and calls me to do that. So I'm not sure exactly what's next except cleaning that basement. But I have no doubt that there's going to be more time for family and friends, more time for travel. I have a stack of books. Instead of reading church governance geek books and the governing documents, I'm just going to read, you know, a beach novel. So reading, travel, friends, family, and then I'm sure something will come up, but I'll wait and see.
What is the strength of the Episcopal Church?
Our unity is not found in agreeing with one another. We're not all lockstep in this house. We're not all lockstep in the House of Bishops. We have people across the theological and political spectrum. That's not where we find our unity. We don't find our unity in like-mindedness. Our unity is in Jesus Christ. And that's the vocation we have to the world, that we can live a common life rooted in Jesus in spite of our differences.
Deputy News would like to thank former President Gay Clark Jennings for this interview and her service.